like to welcome everyone to our Committee of the Whole meeting for February 8th. And I would ask if Legislator David Decker would recite the Pledge of Allegiance for us. Legislator Decker.
I'll be happy to recite the pledge to start our meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have roll call.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Burdick,
Here.
Mr. Crandall,
Here.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Decker,
Here.
Mr. Dibble,
Here.
Mr. Fanton,
Here.
Mr. Graves,
Here.
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Mr. Havey,
Here.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mrs. Hopkins,
Here.
Mr. Ricky,
Here.
Mrs. Root,
Here.
Mr. Stockin.
Here.
15 present.
Thank you. We would need a motion to approve the audit as it has been distributed. This will move on to the full board this afternoon. Motion made by Mr. Fanton,
Second, Stockin.
seconded by Mr. Stockin. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, hey, this is Legislator Graves. I have a couple questions. They've probably been answered before, but maybe it's old age. I need a little reaffirmation of where this money is going. In the under general government support, 1610 shared services phone, $29,532.72. Is that connected to our shared services program, or is this another program that we've got going? Could somebody answer that for me, please?
County Treasurer, do you have the specifics on that?
Chairman Crandall, I can answer that.
All right.
That is the maintenance for the phone system.
That's kind of an odd title. Wouldn't it be just easier to put that, what you just said, in that space rather than shared services phone? Just kind of makes sense. The other question that I have is about the COVID-related expenses on the same item. It's 2020, 2022, and 2025. I'm just wondering if those expenses are reimbursable.
Carl, this is Terry. Some of those cost centers are set up, and if you looked at the whole picture, you're just seeing the expense side. But if you look at the whole picture, some of those do get reimbursement. Some of them are Office of the Aging, Board of Elections, and they have grants against them.
Yep, that's fine, as long as we're working on it, getting what I just do. Over on capital fund detail, let me scroll down here. It was kind of an odd, I didn't understand the item number is 3028, SICG 911. It's a $204,000 expenditure. Could you tell me what that is for, Terry?
Yes, that is part of the SIG grant for from the Sheriff's Department. If you can hang on just a minute, I will pull that up here. Was that 3028, Carl?
Yep.
3028. They had some expenses to Motorola as part of that grant. There were two $85,000 expenses to Motorola and a $34,000 one. I can get you that detail later, but I do have that they were spent.
Yeah, that's fine. You brought back some memories of what the discussion was, so thank you.
Yep, it was a 2018 grant that is winding down, so they're trying to spend the rest of the money with Motorola.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Terry, on that 1610 shared services phone, did the title of that predate the shared services program that the state's meeting?
Yes, shared services, when you see it in our budget, is part of the New York State Chart of Accounts. And they refer to that as when the shared service is a county-wide service, not necessarily a shared service with other municipalities.
And these account numbers are all, there is an actual book by the state that the account numbers go to certain titles, correct?
Correct.
Right. You know, it would really be nice. You know, I know it's a technology issue and somebody with computer programming and all the rest of it. It would be nice if this audit was sent to us with the ability to click on that item number and get the detail on what the item is. You know, we are spending about $10 million a month. It would be nice to know where that money is going. And a little more detail, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's always you're trying to burn up some brain cells to try to remember what that expense was for. So I've done it, so I'm good. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, County Treasurer, for helping us out. Right along those lines and kind of a follow-up to what legislature. Please, I don't have mine in front of me, but the budget workbook that we've had with more detail on that, would that have some of those spelled out a little bit better, County Treasurer?
It won't have the detail of what we've spent on that audit sheet. It will, the titles that we put on that audit sheet are like they appear in our budget. So there's not any further detail as to what's coming out of those expenses other than seeing the detail of the 2-week payments.
That even our workbook, though, gets you to that account and breaks that down a little further.
The detail workbook would detail what Carl's saying, like in 1610, it would list out how the budget looks for, you know, what expenses there were if we could drill down into them. There are some that are just contracts. This particular one would show up as a telephone charge in 1610.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further discussion on the I believe we have a motion and a second. All in favor of moving this forward, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. At this time, there are a couple of items that our county administrator, Carissa Knapp, would like to address. County administrator.
Well, the first one is seeking approval of an agreement with the Eric Ryan Corporation. This corporation audits all our telecommunication utility bills. So this would be your internet, your telephone, your cell phones, electric, gas, propane, anything along those natures. You give them your bills, they will audit them all. They'll create a master sheet of all of your billing. They'll test all the phone lines to make sure they're actual operational and that they're also associated with the county and not just some random number that we're paying for. We do pay for a number of lines, so that is a possibility. And they're looking for errors in billing. So are we being billed too much? And they are familiar with the going rates and they can make rate recommendations. At the end of the audit, hopefully they'll have some savings to tell us about. And if we choose to implement any of the savings, we would split the savings with them. They would receive 15% of the savings up to a maximum of $15,000. If there are no savings, they don't get paid at all. And if there are savings, but we choose not to implement them, they don't get paid. So I'm not seeing, other than the work it will take to give them the bills, I'm not seeing where this is a loss for the county. I think this is a win for us.
Thanks. And this is, I believe that in similar form, we've discussed this in the past, but there was no record of any action ever being taken in the past on this. So this is something new, but there is a good track record with some neighboring counties and others.
Yes. So I had Terry Ross and Keith Hooker join me on a Zoom meeting with this corporation. And they just entered New York State last year into Chautauqua County. They realized about 50,000 in savings in Chautauqua County going through this audit. I wouldn't expect that we would find a savings as big. We're a smaller county, but they are legitimate. We did call Chautauqua County and ask about their experience. It was a positive experience.
So the bottom line is it's not costing us anything. other than maybe some time to compile some information for them, but there could be substantial savings.
Correct. And the time would mostly be on Terry and Keith's end of things. So that's why they're involved in the conversation, both, to realize if their time is worth this or not, or if this is a good pitch, because I believe they've heard pitches from other vendors in the past.
Does the saving, does that continue on an annual basis? For instance, if they save us $15,000 this year, and that saving goes on for several years, is that continue to apply?
I believe this is just for savings for 1 year period. So I believe it's, if they found a billing error and it's worth X amount for the next 12 months, that's what 15% would be contingent on.
Chris, if I can jump in too, just to follow up on that, in the contract, if there were benefits that went to the county after that 1 year period in future years, there's no payments on those additional savings in the future. The payments are only made for the next 12 months based on the savings received during that 12-month period.
Thank you.
Just so everyone knows, and we just had that was Legislator Barnes that was asking that question. And we also had our county attorney, Jeff Donegan, giving his.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Stocking.
I would enthusiastically move this. I have experience with this kind of thing on the local level, and it was very beneficial, different company. But I am eager to move this approval.
Motion.
And we'll second that.
Mr. Stocking, seconded by Mr. Fanton. Further discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. And this would, we'll have some form of a contract that we will, or agreement that we'll have with this company that will come before the board.
Correct. Yep. And we'll have a resolution for the next board meeting for that.
Thank you.
So
On to the next one.
the next one is a request by our Allegheny County Land Bank to have the county apply for a CDBG grant. These grants are up to an amount of $50,000, and the Land Bank is offering to be the subrecipient. And I have Mr. Eisenman, I believe, on the Zoom call who can explain a little bit better about what the Land Bank intends to do with this grant.
Are you with us, Mr. Eisman?
Yep, I'm here, just trying to unmute. Hi, everybody. So the grant would be implemented by the Land Bank. It's kind of two parts. The one part would be the technological end. It would be implementing a map-based application that utilizes data that's already being saved, like GIS data, assessment data, data from partnering agencies like Accord and Cattaraugus Community Action that hold like Section 8 and other housing data. And the goal is to create a database that could be used by multiple departments that will show real-time data and be for housing throughout the county. So that'd be one part of it, would be implementing a maps-based application through this company called Ptolemy Building Blocks. They're reputable and they've been working with multiple municipalities around the state. Albany and Albany Land Bank is who first introduced me to it. And the second part would be a housing conditions survey, which is also through that same company. They have an application that's a mobile application, which would save a lot of paper pushing to go around to samples of housing throughout the county and assess their conditions and then compare that. So then you can do comparisons of are the low to medium income houses in a worse shape than, say, houses on the for sale market, and we'll be able to see those within groups. Maybe a house that is assessed between 20 and 40,000. We can compare them to other houses that are assessed between $20,000 and $40,000 in conditions. And so that's pretty much the long and short of it. That would the performance period's 14 months. on the grant, and there would be a zero buy-in from the county.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Any questions for Mr. Eisman?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Stockton here. I have previously discussed this with Mr. Eisenman and believe it's a good opportunity for us to develop this database. I would move this.
Van will second.
Motion made by legislator Stockin, seconded by legislator Fanton. And this is moving to for that
Public hearing.
public hearing on February 22nd.
So you will have a resolution coming off the floor today to get that done. So there's time to publish notice for that February 22nd date.
Does this tie in with that application as well?
Yes, so the next one, there'll be two resolutions. Normally you set the resolution for the public hearing date, and then you have the resolution authorizing you to approve the grant. And I believe the second one is not coming off the floor. This one can be pre-filed for a day after the public hearing, assuming after the public hearing that you want to proceed. Let's just get it in the chute of resolutions that should be written.
Yeah, well, we have motion made and seconded. And this is to set the public hearing date for February 22nd. And this would take place at 2 p.m. during our regular board meeting. Any further discussion on that? That will be coming off the floor today.
This is Jan Burdick, legislator Burdick. Does this include properties that would go up for the county tax sale?
I am assuming that it probably will, because we don't know what properties those are until they're foreclosed on. But Jason, did you have a better answer of how comprehensive you intend this?
Yeah, there'll be different aspects of how some of it will be random sampling that the company will help us generate through random sampling, but with some kind of guidelines. So not just every house will go into the pools, but so I think that to answer your question, there will be inevitably some properties on that, but not targeted because we don't know those properties.
Thank you.
Any further questions? This will be setting the public hearing date. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is carried. Now we would be looking for a motion and second to move forward with that grant, that'll be pre-filed. We won't see that this afternoon, but that'll be our next.
Correct. So that way you can have the hearing, and then if you wish to proceed, you can go right on, and this one will be pre-filed if you want to pass it.
Motion.
Curran moves that.
Root will second.
Motion made by legislator Curran, seconded by legislator Root. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is carried. Anything further, County Administrator? Yeah.
I think that takes care of everything for me.
And anything under old business? We still have the property discussion taking place, but we don't have any definitive answer or information back on that at this time. That was the logging question. We can address that at our next committee of the whole meeting if that's ready and available. I just didn't want people to think we forgot about that. New business. Go to the order. And I believe we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, as it appears there's no further business to conduct, I move we adjourn.
Rick, you'll second.
made by Mr. Graves, seconded by Mr. Ricky. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.